National Public Lands Day teaches a way of life, how we as human beings can serve one another by making our environment cleaner. I think volunteering develops in each of us a greater sense of community that we can model for others, including our children.
I love to cook for people, especially people with diabetes. But you know, managing diabetes is not just great healthy food. At the same time, it is testing blood sugars regularly and keeping very careful records.
In fact, doctors recommend that people with diabetes keep a logbook, a kind of diabetes diary. But that's not always easy.
Things aren't always what they seem. It's 1938, and what you're looking at is literally the mother of all fashion statements.
Woman is a sometime thing.
Doesn't look very bold, you might think. But the fashion statement isn't being worn. Look closer. It's on the blackboard. See the fashion now? It's called nylon. But its first application wasn't even close to fashion. It was bristles in a toothbrush.
One of the greatest needs in the world now is to give attention to the most neglected and poverty-stricken and suffering people on earth. I can't think of a better example of this than the impact of guinea worm. It's one of the worst and most ancient afflictions on the human race, one that's disgusting in many ways to describe. And what is our responsibility? Well, with a very simple filter cloth and with a minimum of effort in teaching the villagers the cause of that disease, we can eliminate a horrible affliction.
The Carter Center is closer than ever to making guinea worm the next disease to be eradicated from Earth.
In 1889, Eastman and a research associate perfected a flexible film that was transparent. This film became the basis for Edison's invention of the motion picture camera and projector.
Today, things are different. What you're seeing is not a dream or a fantasy. It's not the future. It's happening thousands of times every day by very unskilled people. You'd think that children from all communities are getting the same quality of education. But what if they're all not getting equal education? What if it's not the same? What if children from these communities are getting a lot less education than children from these communities? What happens then? Here's what. California, like many other states, is currently building more prisons than schools. The problem begins where most people think school systems are about the same. But it's a myth. They're not.
Expected in the Fine Arts Division.
Is this a natural-born performer, or what?
No, he's just trained for it, I think.
But then, here he is, all alone, by himself. Looks to me like he's doing the same thing. I think he just enjoys showing off.
Knowing what you're eating is more difficult than you might think. Raisins are actually dried grapes. Watermelon, one of America's favorite fruits, is really a vegetable. Peanuts aren't even nuts, they're legumes. Coffee actually comes from a berry, not a bean. And prunes, well, they're really dried plums. They first appeared in California back in the gold rush when brothers Louis and Pierre
Each and every one of us relies on space technology numerous times every day.
If you were an expert in heat and thermodynamics, and I said, I'm going to give you an unlimited budget, invent a better oven than I have now. You might have invented the convection oven, you might design it to be a little more thermally insulated. You'll come up with, so you might have an electric oven. You'd invent all of those kinds of ovens, but you know something? Your shop would have never produced a microwave oven. That comes out of a whole other branch of physics, not thermodynamics. It's the cross-pollination of technologies. The klystron, developed in the Second World War for radar communications, that's what gets applied to a cavity that then heats water efficiently. You want to advance culture, allow it to cross-pollinate. Bring people with different ideas together. The space program does that for free. So instead of asking, how is my life different? I think of it the other way. I think of, someone should come into your house at night and take away everything that was enabled by the space program from 10, 20, 30, and 40 years ago. Then we'll see how you're living your life. I know you're not going to be able to stand it, particularly here in America where we take so much of our technological advances for granted.
In Venice, 1615, the local clergy condemned it, calling the drink a bitter invention of Satan. But the Pope liked it so much, he reversed the condemnation, approving it. 1774. The Americans had their infamous Boston Tea Party, dumping tons of overtaxed tea into the sea. So furious with England's excessive tea tax, they started drinking coffee instead, as their patriotic duty. They're not even drinking it here. Rather, they're trading it, guessing at what its price will be in 6 months. But for the moment, let's get practical and see how to make a better cup of coffee.
Well, we're very fortunate in America in that there are so many different ways to make coffee. And what we're going to talk about today are 4 different ways to make a great cup of coffee. A couple tips, though, that apply across all these different approaches is, first, start with the coffee that's right.
He's 10, just about the age where he knows it all. Here are some things he doesn't know. 600,000 people a year are treated in hospital emergency rooms for bicycle accidents. Head injuries are the leading cause of death in bicycle accidents. Children with head injuries are 20 times more likely to die than those without head injuries. Wearing a bike helmet can reduce the risk of head injury by 85%.